So every level in Portal is on a big grid. Big, enormous grid. This isn't a very square grid, but that's fine. And at the center, there is a 0, 0 point. And the level can exist anywhere on this grid, right? Theoretically, you could disregard the 0, 0 point and build your level all the way up here. And that would be completely fine. However, generally, it's more convenient to put it near 0, 0. So, rather than putting it over here, typically the level will be, near to 0, 0, or it'll just outright be on top of 0, 0, and you'll actually be able to find 0, 0 in the level. 17 is an example of this. You can actually pass through 0, 0 while doing like 17 fling, I think. So the 0, 0 point just marks the origin, and every point on the map is basically described as relative to that 0, 0 position, that origin, as I'm going to be calling it. So this wall here is described as, well, a wall starting at, this position from the origin. And generally you'll just say how many units away it is, and that's actually what your CL show pos is doing. It's showing you how many units away you are from the origin. So the wall is described as from here to here. Pretty simple system. So a coordinate system like this is basically how all games handle how do I describe where things are. You pick an origin, and then you describe all things in relation to that origin. Now, in a game like Portal, and I guess in the Source Engine in general, you often will transition between levels that look quite similar, right? They'll have this little ending bit, and then the next level will have sort of that like same ending bit, and then their own thing. And it's then the job of the game to sort of make sure that you start in this one, the level changes, and then you end up here. The trouble is that if you were going to do that as just a simple, align them such that the coordinates are the same, right? And then, for the origin for both of them, that was in the same spot, well, then you'd end up having, slowly but surely, a game that sort of works its way away from 0, 0. So this is our next level. Well, then all of a sudden, it's even further away from 0, 0, and it's just going to keep getting further away. So no, the Source Engine doesn't do that. Instead, what we're going to do is we're basically going to put the levels on top of each other. Put the levels on top of each other. And then we're just going to use landmarks, as they're called, to basically say, okay, well, the player is here. Well, that corresponds to this position in the next level. And this is done for basically any entity that travels between levels. It's going to be the player, it's going to be any props, it's going to be any NPCs and stuff, right? The position that you're actually occupying is going to change every time you change maps. And the game has a separate system to make sure it still looks like you're in the correct spot. Now, the glitch with traveling Portal wrong warps effectively comes from the fact that they didn't do this. They didn't implement this check for portals. If you go to open a portal, and then transition to another level, then that portal is going to still try to open at the position it was at in the previous level. So let's say that we have this little box here, and this is going to be the end of one level. And then we're going to have, say, I don't know, another box over here, and this is going to be the start of the next level, right? And the origin can be here. So, you go into this box, and then you transition levels, and then you're in this box. Well, what if, as we enter this box, we shoot a portal here? Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to shoot the portal, hit the level transition. We're going to end up down here, but the portal is still going to try and open back here. But at this point, that level doesn't exist anymore, so it's going to immediately close and fizzle. And that's why no one really found this for so long, is that if you try and do it, it seems to just not work. It seems that portals just aren't preserved through level transitions. The reality, of course, is that they are. So let's have a look at how this actually works in the 1415 Traveling Portal Wrong Warp. First, let's have a look at Chamber 14. So this is a top-down view of the map. You can see this is the start elevator, this is the end elevator, there's your button. Up here, this is the stairs. It looks a bit dodgy, but that's fine. So when we do the wrong warp, we're shooting from here to here. Now, the reason we're shooting from here is that the portal needs to be traveling when the level transition happens. So the longer the travel time, such as, this long shot from here to here, the longer the travel time, the easier it is. So we can actually just disregard this. It doesn't actually play a part in the trick working at all. It just makes it easier. Really, all we need to worry about is this right here. This spot just here is actually what we care about. So this is, some position relative to the origin, which is just here, 0, 0. So when we shoot this portal, we basically first run a raycast. And a raycast is basically just the game's way of figuring out whether or not we should be opening a portal or not. It basically just shoots out a ray instantly, sees if it collides with anything. If it does, checks if it's portalable, does all that, and it's like, okay, yep, that ray has hit this inbound surface, and we're going to open a portal here. And then it starts a timer, because they wanted travel time in this game for some reason. So they added a timer such that when you shoot a portal far away, it'll take a second to open. In this case, it is pretty close to a second. So you shoot the portal, it raycasts, the portal, basically is activated, and then we have to wait, for that timer to elapse before it actually opens. So the glitch is while that timer is still going, we transition into the next level. Because the game, when that timer runs out, is all it's going to remember is that I am opening a portal from, like this position relative to the origin. And it does not care about, which level it's on. All it knows is that I need to open a portal at this position compared to the origin. So this is the glitch. Let's have a look at 15. This is the end of 15 here. It's a little bit different than this other image. It has like some perspective, but that's fine. The scale is just about the same. The origin for Chamber 15 is actually near the end. This is the ending room, and the origin is actually down here. It's in the platform goo area. And in this area, that is, where the 0, 0 point is. So up here, is all pretty close to the origin. Now, the trick basically reveals itself to us. What is actually going on reveals itself to us when we overlap these two maps. Let's bring 14 to the center here, and then let's overlap the origin of these two maps. Like that. And now if we have a look, from down to here, you can see that this area we're shooting in 14, relative to the origin, happens to be exactly the same as the area we end up in 15. And this is basically how this trick works. We shoot a portal, it lands here, and the game starts a timer saying, okay, in 1 second time, I'm going to open a portal here relative to the origin. The level transitions, but the timer keeps going. In 15, the timer runs out, and it opens a portal here relative to the origin. Same position relative to the origin. So the old version is where you would shoot, in the under elevator part of 14. So you'd shoot in the elevator here, And you see that would put you here in 15. Just here. And obviously you had to do crazy stuff because there's no surface in the middle of the air in 15. So that's why that was difficult. The fact that this surface happens to align is a miracle, frankly. The fact that that works and that, that actually is a thing that exists is crazy.